Hi, I'm John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy with another Global Real Estate School podcast. Hey, welcome to the podcast. My name is John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy. This is episode 307. I thought we'd look at the appraisals for valuation of real property. That's right off the candidate handbook. And you need to know the first segment that they ask us is appraisals for valuation of real property. So what is an appraisal? I know that's a question a lot of people want to know. What is an appraisal? I get questions all the time from consumers who call me up and say, yeah, I need to get an appraisal of my property. Now, here is a good question to know or remember. Sometimes people call up and say, yeah, I need to get an appraisal of my property. And I've heard real estate agents in my own company say, well, I'm not an appraiser. I can't do an appraisal for you. When we talk about the words we use, and then they say, okay, thank you, goodbye. And I'm thinking to myself, and I have the question with them, well, did they need an appraisal? Or do they want to know what their home is worth to possibly put it on the market for sale? Okay? So just because someone calls you up and says, hey, we need an appraisal on our home, does not mean they need that for court or for a bank loan. It could just be their way of saying, we want to put our home on the market and we'd like to know what it's worth. And you do not know how many times when I've had that question posed to me, especially now as kind of a small brokerage boutique company where I work on my own, and people call me and say, yeah, I'd like to get an appraisal on my home. And I clarify the question by saying, are you needing this for a legal purpose, such as a court or an estate, or are you trying to get a loan on your home? And they'll say, no, we're just thinking about putting it up for sale. Well, now I've opened the door for that opportunity to possibly get a listing, okay? So we consumers especially confuse appraisals for what's my home worth. We talk about a broker price opinion or a comparative market analysis, which we will talk about here. But what I want you to understand is this. For the exam, and according to many state laws that are out there and federal laws for federally insured mortgages, an appraisal is sometimes required from a person who has an appraisal license, or an appraiser license, I should say, okay? So what is an appraisal? Well, it's an unbiased estimate of a property's fair market value, usually conducted by a licensed or certified appraiser. Now, on the examination, they may want to try to draw you in and ask you, can a salesperson do an appraisal on a property for a seller that they could use for a bank or a court purpose? And the answer is no, we usually can't, okay? But you need to read those questions very carefully, because we can give an estimate, a comparative market analysis, but if it's for a loan or loan approval or for the courts, it's probably going to need to come from a licensed or a certified appraiser. So why are appraisals important? Well, lenders typically require them during the loan approval process to ensure that the property's value supports the loan they're going to make. I mean, think about you. Would you want to loan me money for a piece of real estate, and the real estate was going to be your security in the property, if the property was not worth what you were loaning me? So I want you to give me $100,000 so I can buy this property, and I'll let you have that property as security. So if I don't pay you back the $100,000, you can foreclose on the property, as we've talked about in financing, right? The deed of trust or the mortgage, and you have a note, and it's recorded at the courthouse to give what kind of notice to the whole world? Constructive notice. And you don't make the payments, and you foreclose and take the real estate back, and now you get an appraisal on the property after the fact, and they say, oh, this is only worth about $15,000. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I loaned him $100,000, and this is only worth $15,000? So an appraisal is important in the pre-approval of the loan process, just to ensure that, hey, if this person doesn't make the payments and we have to foreclose and try to resell this property to get our money back, is it worth what we're loaning the money on? And finally, who uses appraisals? Well, buyers, sellers, lenders, hey, sometimes investors, or as I mentioned earlier, courts, people who are getting a divorce and they're trying to distribute the real estate that they own because they own those properties as tenants by the entirety, and now they want to give one party one of the properties and the other party might take another one, and so forth and so on. Well, you need an appraisal. Or maybe I'm just going to give money to my spouse if I'm getting a divorce, and I'm not, because I have a lovely wife and appreciate her so much. But just in the illustration or the example, you need an appraisal for the court to determine what is this real estate worth and who needs to give who compensation for their part of the ownership. So appraisals for valuation of real property, it's a big part of the real estate exam. You need to know and be sure to read the questions carefully, because sometimes an appraisal is required by a certified appraiser. Hey, don't forget, at Global Real Estate School, we have some great practice exams. We have digital flashcards you can buy. I've got the My Real Estate Exam Prep. Lots of great stuff there. So check us out at globalrealestateschool.com. Hey, I'm John Mayfield, the Real Estate Tech Guy. As always, go out and make it a great day. Thank you for listening to the podcast for Global Real Estate School. I'm John Mayfield, the Real Estate Tech Guy. Go out and make it a great day.